Lives of our Saints. On 30th of January, our church celebrates the feast of the three hierarchs. The following are some thoughts on this great feast day. There are heroes galore in the Christian church, any one of whom could be selected as a favourite, and of the favourites that cropped up in private or public discussion, there were three that were most commonly mentioned. These three, who had the remarkable coincidence of serving the Lord in the 4th century, were St. Basil the Great, St. Gregory the Theologian, and St. John Chrysostom. The debates that began in the home or marketplace soon spread into the church and its councils and found their way into the upper echelons of the hierarchy, not out of proportion but out of an evolution of ideas wholly natural to the 11th century Christian structure. With an absolute state rule, there was little challenge for the brighter minds of the time in government, civil service, as a result of which the intellectuals as well as the dedicated found themselves drawn to the church. The tax collector commanded little respect, but the cleric was a man very highly esteemed, and it was to this spiritual servant that the average citizen turned for many services, some of which were outside his sphere of authority. It was quite natural then that a religious question would be brought to the priest, and that the controversy would pyramid beyond him to the highest and most respected prelates. Honoured as doctors of the Church, Saints Basil, Gregory and John were intellectual giants of equal stature, serving God and man with an equally high level of devotion and spirit. They were theologians and philosophers of the highest order, as well as gifted educators, orators and spiritual leaders, whose influence was such that 700 years after they appeared, they were still so highly esteemed as to touch of a dispute as to who just might be greatest. After years of polemics, the burning issue reached a climactic conclusion in 1081 during the reign of Emperor Alexios, and then only by what would appear to be the result of divine intervention. One of the most highly respected prelates of the day was Bishop John of Galatia, known throughout the Byzantine Empire for his considerable wisdom and spiritual integrity, a man who had refused to be drawn into an argument which by then divided the Christian community into three different camps in a sorry display of ill-advised but unavoidable dispute. Some of the greatest minds of the church became involved in a matter that was spinning out of control and which posed a serious threat to the solidarity of the faith. Bishop John of Galatia received a vision in which the three hierarchs in question appeared to him to deplore the current disagreement and to ask him to step into the breach with an announcement of their visit and the admonition that the three were equal in the sight of God. Whoever disputed this would therefore dispute God. The elated Bishop John went to Constantinople to announce the divine visitation, and the tumult was transformed to quiet accord when this relatively simple solution to what up until then had been uncompromising strife was revealed. Almost overnight, harmony was restored. A formal declaration of the equality of the three saints was issued, and January 30 was designated as the feast day celebrating the equation of St. Basil the Great, St. Gregory the Theologian, and St. John Chrysostom.